Scotland. Look at the visuals that we're putting out on our screens. There you have King Charles III. That is going to be his title from here on. He's outside the Buckingham Palace interacting with thousands who've been lining up since morning to pay their last tributes to the long-standing monarch, the Queen. They also want to catch a glimpse of members of the royal family. I want to continue the conversation with Vivek Rawal. He is Guards Polo Club, United Kingdom, a close family member of the royal family. Vivek, when you look at these visuals coming from outside the Buckingham Palace, you can see the sentiment in many. They, of course, want to catch a glimpse of, members of the royal family. But there is that very clear sense of loss as well. As King Charles interacts with all these people, what are going to be the challenges for him?
I think the point of coming in after the loss of someone who was so much loved by the public in general, and for him to adapt from his otherwise previously well-known role as the Prince of Wales, and that transition between the Prince of Wales to King Charles III is, I think, where the biggest challenges are going to lie for him. He also comes at a time where there is such big crises all around the world, and his role within that, with other world leaders, and indeed within his now role as head of the Commonwealth. I think those are going to be some of his big challenges. He also, as you're probably aware, was patron of sort of over 500 charities, one of which, I was also on the founding circle of and engaged with him a lot over. So it's about even some of those transitions. The political landscape as well, as you're aware, has just recently changed with the recent changeover of our Prime Minister. And the role that actually is engaged within the royal family and Westminster, okay, I think is another very critical area that he is going to have to take on a change, and whilst also being able to stamp his own identity over his reign.
And that won't be an easy job, as you rightly said, because if you're coming out of a shadow like that, it's not going to be easy to establish your identity. But talking about your personal connection with the royal family, Vivek, I believe there is a godson that is involved between the king and you as well. What's the story there?
Yes, well, we're very fortunate in the sense that King Charles and I share a godson who is the Maharaja of Jaipur, Savai Padmanabh Singh Jaipur. And, watching his growth between the two of us, every time we've interacted on that, we would often remark and say, he always says that you are by far the better godfather for our boy, and I hope that you will do a much better job than I will. But I still want to keep a track on how he's going. Padmanabh is currently out in South Africa representing India in the World Polo Championships at the moment. And, I'm sure we'll be actually sending messages across through to King Charles over the situation here. But it just shows the sort of the personal element that King Charles has over these sort of duties, and how jovial he can be and candid when it comes to something like that. And yet, if I look at his role, let's say, for example, the founding patron of the British Asian Trust, which is, again, a very relevant trust, uniting basically the diaspora from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh here in the UK, it also shows, how he takes certain roles like that very seriously. Sure. So I think, there is there's a great charm about King Charles, and there's also a statesman who has been statesman in waiting for many, many years. And also the closeness that he has with the public and the royal family means I think he will be more than able to take on the role and actually make his own mark on it.
Okay. Vivek, it was a pleasure chatting with you, getting some insight into the lives of the royal family and also what the road ahead for King Charles will look like. I'll leave the conversation there. I now